Hi, I'm Cheryl Strachan, registered dietitian and founder of Sweet Spot Nutrition. I'm just going to give you a quick demo of my recipe collection in Evernote and how I do the go-to list in Evernote. I apologize. I would have loved to do this a week or two ago before we started the challenge, but there wasn't any time. So here we are, and I know a couple of you are playing with Evernote, so I thought maybe this will be helpful to you anyways. And the story behind this is that for many years, probably 20 years, I had various binders full of recipes, and I really enjoyed collecting them. And as a dietitian, I would bring them to work and share them with my clients. But the binders kept getting bigger and more unwieldy. And sometimes I think I had up to 3 binders at the most. And I would kind of play around with how to organize them best, sometimes by category, which is common, right? Chicken recipes, breakfast recipes. But then I would want to identify what are my favorites or what are the really fast things to make. And so there would be Post-it notes on them and different things. And I wanted to be able to have them at home, but also be able to access them at work to share recipes with clients. So I started looking into digital tools. I think it was back in 2012. And a good friend of mine said, I love Evernote and you should look into Evernote. And I did, as well as some recipe apps. But the thing that tripped me over at that time was because Evernote could search through all of the text in either a PDF, like a scanned in version of a recipe, or a photo of a recipe, which I thought was really cool technology. And I don't know if any recipe apps can do that now. Back at the day, they couldn't do that. So I was looking for something where I could scan in a bunch of my recipes and be able to search through them. So that's why I like Evernote. You can use the free version, although there's a limit to how much you can upload every month. And I ran into that pretty quick when I was uploading my own recipes. So I use the paid version. I now use it for all sorts of things, try to go as paperless as possible. But if you want to just start playing around with it for recipes, you certainly don't have to use the paid version. So here's a quick demo of how it works, and maybe you'll see something in there that you think will work in your system.
Welcome to the inside of my Evernote. You can see that up at the top here, you can see there are about 8,600 notes. These are not all recipes. I've started using Evernote for lots of other things, so that's why there are so many. And on the left, you can see they're organized in various ways, but I'll point your attention to the notebooks here. And I have a bunch of notebooks, but I would just have a few. I'm migrating away from this and trying to transfer things out of notebooks because I think it's actually better to use fewer notebooks and use the tags for organizing instead. But definitely do a recipes notebook, which is what I have, and I'm going to keep that one for sure. So if I click on that, you can see here the list goes down to 875 recipes. Still really too many to be useful. So I'll show you some of the different ways that I typically search through this. So number one is just searching by ingredients. So you can see up in the left, there's a search bar. And if I click on it, the first thing it kind of prompts me to do is add the filter of only looking through the recipes notebook. And if you only use Evernote for recipes, you don't really have to do that. But because I use it for so many things, and especially because I'm a dietitian, so I have so many nutrition and food related things in my Evernote, I always make sure to say, I just want to look at recipes for the moment. And then you type in whatever you'd like to search under. So let's say, I want to cook more kale. I've got some kale. I want to cook with that. So you type in whatever you want to search for. So it searches through everything in each recipe, including the title, as well as any text, photographs. If you scan the recipe, it can search through that, which is great. So it's bringing up anything that's got kale in it that's in the recipe collection. So now you can see we're down to 65 notes, still kind of too many. It's in order right now. You can tell by this little arrow that it's in order by the date that it was created. So that's kind of nice in some ways. It shows me the most recent additions to my collection. But what I sometimes will do is go up here to the right. You see the little arrow there and click on that, and I can change it to sort by relevance to my search. So that will give me the most kale of all of these recipes. You can see best shredded kale salad. It's one of my favorites. Kale with sesame seeds at Epicurious. Really like that recipe too. Dinner with Julie's, kale with quinoa salad. So that's how the basic search works, and that's really useful for just if you have something in the fridge or something you want to cook more with, look for some recipes that you've collected over the years that have that ingredient. The next thing that I like to use, and I'll show you, is tags. So tagging your recipes is why I love this so much better than any kind of system like a binder or even a computer system that just has folders, because you can assign multiple tags to a recipe. I used to have binders and I would have little Post-it notes for different criteria, like this can be made fast, or this is one of our favorites. And finally, it just got too many. So to use the tags, let's say I'll take out the kale here. And well, first of all, I'll show you if you want to just find the go-to list. I'll type in go-to, start typing it, and you see some go things came up, including at the bottom there are the filters that match that, including the go-to filter. So if I click on that, you can see here it's narrowed down my recipe collection to show me just the go-tos, which are 79 recipes. So I could just scroll through that if I wanted to, but I usually like to go even a little bit deeper. And so one of the things I do with every single recipe is I do put it into some kind of category based on the main protein, or if it's not something that contains protein, then I have a few other categories like vegetables, appetizers, desserts. So let's say I want to do something with maybe fish. A lot of people tell me this, they want to make more fish. So if I start typing CAT for category, you can see that I named all the category tags with CAT at the top so that they come up right away, and I can go down to the fish category here, click that. And now we're down to 12 notes. Those are the things that I have known and made, and they're my keepers that have fish in them. So that makes it pretty quick when I'm going to do my meal planning to go, oh yeah, I haven't made this for a while. Let's do that recipe. That looks really good. So I'll just show you here the categories that I use. Not that you're going to necessarily use the same ones, but to give you some ideas. You can see on the left there, appetizer, breakfast, cheese, etc. And maybe I'll just take a screenshot of that and include it with this post so you can browse through that and see if those categories might be useful to you. And those are the category tags, but I do also tag my recipes with other things that are important to me, things that freeze well, that we use for holidays. Index was a thing I started where I scanned in the index of a cookbook, and then I can search on that, although that took way too much time, so I haven't done more of that. Instant Pot, intact grains, or things like barley, farro, quinoa. So, and you can use whichever ones you think would be useful to you. Any specific term that you can search, I wouldn't make a tag for that. But if it's something you think, oh, I want to make sure I can find, like this is a favorite one here, made 1 or 2 times, which is for things that I've obviously made 1 or 2 times. And I think if I liked that, I'm going to make it 1 or 2 more times. And then maybe if it is confirmed as to be good, then we'll put it in the go-to list. Down here, you see I've got a top 10 list, and that's just usually things we really, really think are delicious, and we like them kind of the very, very best. So lots of different tags. Vacation is something you can make in a rented kitchen at an Airbnb or a cabin. And the criteria there is basically it's not a lot of work. I don't want to do a lot of work on vacation, and it doesn't have a lot of ingredients because you don't want to be carting out a whole bunch of ingredients. So these are just really simple things. So I'll include all these tags as well, and you can kind of figure out if there's any that you would want to use. So that's basically how the recipes are organized in there. And then I guess the other useful thing to know is if you're going to put something in the meal plan, this is how I do it. So let's say I wanted to make these basic braised greens. You just point at it and right click on it. You get that right click menu there, and I use the copy internal link, copy app link. There's a shortcut there, but I never use that. I'm not that organized. So I've copied the link to it, and then I go into my shortcuts to my favorite notes, which the top of there is my meal plan for the week. And I can just add and say, yeah, we're going to make that. And I paste that link right in there. So there's my meal plan, and it's got the list of things we're going to make. You might have seen this if you've taken any of my courses or done the meal planning material. Got my meal plan is just pretty much the days, what's in the calendar, which normally has lots of stuff in it. Right now, there's basically nothing. Who's cooking, and then my little checklist I have below, and I do actually usually use this just to prompt myself, check last week's meal plan, whatever things we like, adjust the tags if they need to be added, maybe to the go-to list or to the vacation list. Take any recipes out. I'm pretty ruthless. If I don't love something, I delete it. Check the calendar, check the weather, check the inventory. These are all my standard kind of meal planning steps. So that's it in a nutshell. And for those who've already downloaded Evernote and you've tried it, I'll make a separate video with just a couple other things about how kind of best practices about how I add the recipes to Evernote. I will just finish by saying I took a look at Evernote and I wanted to see, can you do this for free? And I think most of what I do, you can do for free. If you see the pricing plans for Evernote, you see here what the free one gives you, that 60 megabyte monthly upload limit. That's workable as long as you don't have too many images. So when I first started doing this, I scanned in all the paper recipes that I had. So right away I needed the paid version because I blew through that 60 megabyte upload limit. You could do them more gradually and do like a smaller file size if you wanted to, but I just really wanted to get it done. So I went to the premium. But if you download something from the internet, just make sure you don't include all the images. You just need one image in each one, and that way you won't go past that 60 megabyte upload limit. Everything else I do is pretty much in the free version. So why not, give it a try. And if you have any questions, let me know.